Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the MVP Michael Bender podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tonight, we have an exciting time planned ahead for us. Tonight, we are going to learn how I became a Nashville recording artist. What you're hearing now is one of my singles, For Sure, which I released about 3 years ago in the Nashville recording studio. We'll hear more of that later. Welcome. I hope everyone had a blessed, wonderful day. My goodness. Welcome back. It's good to see everybody. I hope everyone was able to use the things that we learned from last time. Did you figure out where you was plugged in? Was you able to kind of view the energy that you consume yourself with and decipher it, whether what needed to be? Was you able to look at your receptors and see what could use worked on? I know mine. And, cleaning them is a continuous thing that we have to do as warriors. There's not going to come a day where we won't have to clean our receptors because we live in such a vile, dirty place that just being in this environment automatically corrodes you and damages you, kind of like a vehicle in the snow in Ohio. The difference between a Florida car and an Ohio car, when you're buying them, Ohio cars are just rusted out. Florida cars, bam, body's great on them because of their conditions. So as humans as a whole, just being on this earth, man, we got to constantly, on a daily basis, give gratitudes. On a daily basis, show kindness. On a daily basis, give phenomenal effort at work and home. You can't give all your effort at work and go home and be a slouch. It just don't work that way. It's easy to do because it's hard. Once you put in, I know we're all putting in long days, but it's one of those things to where if you do it, good for you. There's something going to be waiting on you on the other side. You know what I mean? Okay, so I want to talk about how I went to Nashville and how that came about, everything that happened down there. I think you guys are going to be excited about this story. It's pretty neat. I haven't told it to many people, especially I've never told it in public's eye for view like this. Couple shout outs though. We do have a proud sponsor for our show, the very first sponsor. That's well-deserved, ladies and gentlemen. Well-deserved. Oh, they wanted a round two, didn't they? Pop the Hood Automotive, Anthony Underwood on Hudson Avenue, Columbus, Ohio. Affordable, reliable, mechanic work done on all models. If you want a fair deal, go see Anthony Underwood at Pop the Hood Automotive. And tell him Bender sent you. I'm sure he'll give you some kind of discount. For sure. Oh, man. Let's see here. I got another thing I want to bring up here. Davey Cox Roofing. My dude Davey. You guys know who Davey is? My dude. Well, one of his sales girls has sold her very first roof. And you know what? We're giving Miss Katie Brinkman. Congratulations. I hope there's many more to come, my friend. Keep up the great work. We see you here at MVP. Keep up the good work. Hey, if you guys have anybody who you think deserves a shout out because they're being an all-star in life, PM me. I am not off limits. I want to be obtainable. You can message me. You can email me. Anyway, I will get back to you. And we'll give them a shout out on the show. Katie Brinkman, again, congratulations. Davey Cox, Cox Roofing. Love you, Davey. Um, of course, I want to give a big shout out to Win the Storm and Josie and Hell Yeah Roofing, Jamie Hale. My dude, Jason Neens, just sold his first 7-figure job for Summit Roofing. Man, there sure is a lot of applauses going around today, but you know what? I love giving out gold stars. One of my favorite things to do. I believe attaboys and attagirls can make this world go round in such a way that everyone's so happy, they're going to think that we're being poisoned or something by the government because everyone's happy and go lucky. You'd be like, what the heck's going on? What'd they put in the air? Freaking, are they microdosing people? But it's going to be a natural, real thing. And watch it, folks. Mark my words, it's going to happen. Let's see, who am I forgetting? I always seem to forget people. I want to give a big shout out to Douglas. Douglas, my sighting crew lead person. They're wrapping up a job. If you, I was going to say, I'll post some pictures on my page. If anybody knows me on Facebook, you see all the work we do. Man, just what an awesome crew. Total detailed, knocked it out of the ballpark. And, you know, it's just badass. And I want to give them a special shout out because I know they're watching. And you know what? Thank you guys. I really appreciate you. Joey appreciates you and all that good stuff. Let's see here. Nothing's real exciting going on. I did sell a job today, which was very nice. That's always a great feeling when you close a deal, you know? And boy, I tell you what, there's just nothing like it. When you go out and you can make money on helping people, but not just helping people. You just can't go out and sell people, and you're not selling anyway. You are helping them through an experience, which usually is the insurance company, which people don't want to deal with. And that's, you know, we are exterior attorneys. And you know what? It's a great opportunity for people. I do want to give one more shout out to my little dude over there in the neighborhood where we're installing. I ain't going to drop his name, but he knows who he is. We are definitely looking for new, up-and-coming young men and women who are wanting to just blaze the trail of success. So he's one of our new recruits. I can't wait to get him on board. Again, if you have anybody, if you're interested in joining the team, the Second Chance Summit, Top Roofing and Windows, come on, PM me. Let me hear from you. All right. Well, Columbus, Ohio. That's going to tell you about Nashville. Here we go. Oh my gosh. Too much fun. So I'm ready to, I always knew, okay, always knew that I was meant to be on stage, that I was meant to have a platform, that it was just my calling. I knew I'd be good at it. I got the heart for it. I genuinely care. And I thought, oh my God, if I can get someone just to hear my music, I'm going to make it. I know they won't be able to say no. And I was doing pretty good in Columbus at the time. This is around 2022. And I was installing kitchens for Kitchen Fronts of Columbus. Go Kitchen Fronts of Columbus. I'm going to try to get them as a sponsor too. William. But man, you know, I mean, I was 40-something at the time, and I was ready to do it. I believed in myself. I believed in myself enough. I sold every single tool I had installing kitchens and the van with it so I could go to Nashville and start over. So I got the bus ticket there, made the decision, told everyone I was going, And I went. Well, what I didn't plan on was Nashville being so expensive. And the very little $1,000 that I took down there with me didn't last very long. And I found myself homeless in Nashville. Homeless. Nashville is no place to be homeless, y'all. I'm telling you what, they will kill you and kill you for nothing very fast. I had to learn that the hard way. But I was already there. There was no going back. So I stayed homeless for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, barely sleeping. And finally, I realized that I was all by myself. Now, let me remind you, people, here was my daily regiment schedule. Wake up first thing in the morning. You get maybe 3 hours sleep. So we'll go start at crack of dawn. I wake up and start scouring the entire area looking for drop change, whatever I could scavenge and find and sell. And then from there, go and talk to people. I'd sit on corners, sing my songs. They called me the naked cowboy because I'd take my shirt off and dance. And I'm sure you might have heard of the naked cowboy. I will gratefully take that title for that time in my life because you know what? I earned it. I didn't give two shits. I would yank that shirt off and I'd start singing like crazy. And you know, there was one time where things really weren't going well. I couldn't get much money raised. And man, I was hungry. I was tired. And I realized that I didn't have anybody to call because all my family is deceased. All my family has been deceased. I ain't got no family. And, you know, I was like, oh my gosh, I ain't got no one to call. I'm all by myself. And then it hit me, which is always, the Spirit always talks in these kind of situations because He's a comforting God. And He says, now you get to see what you're made of. If you got people helping you and people you can call, you never really see your full potential. But if you're by yourself, we're going to see what Michael Bender's made of. We're going to see what Jane Doe is made of. We're going to see what we're going to see what you're made of, America, world, pardon me. And that's the way it was. And that's the way I seen it. And you know, not one of my needs was ever not met. I might have gotten hungry a little bit, but I'll tell you about one of the situations. I got a lot of stories to tell, but it's just going to take away from our time to get to the really good, juicy stuff coming up. I was so hungry one night and just exhausted because down there you can't fall asleep because they will rob everything you have or kill you, like I said. So there was no sleeping. You might have been able to doze off, but you mostly dozed off through the day because you had to stay awake and aware at night. And one night, I had just given out. I was down there, and anyone's ever been to Nashville where they have the food trucks and all that stuff, and they sell the cowboy hats and all that. I was in the grass area, and I just fell out. I fell out. Woke up. It was, I think it might have rained a little bit, but I had my phone on my chest. I'm gonna lie, I ended up crying myself to sleep because I was just so exhausted. I just wanted to give up. I wanted to die. I wanted to go home, but I didn't have a home to go to. I didn't have anybody. And I just really was just done. I was done. And so I wake up the next morning, and what I'm about to tell you was a miracle in miracles, if there's ever miracles to be miracles. And everything I say on this show is true and 100% happened fact in time. Okay, so I wake up, it's break of dawn, and anyone that knows Nashville, there's always people around at Nashville. Well, it's kind of foggy. And I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? I realized what was going on. Realize my phone had gotten stolen, of course. And I'm looking around and I'm like, oh my God, God, I was so hungry, just hungry. So I get up and I start scavenging around. And I'm really kind of like, what the F am I going to do? I'm so hungry. And there ain't a soul out, not a soul. And I'm like, man, where is everybody? So I go up and I go down under Broadway, down the strip to Broadway, and go up to where you turn left to go up to the food trucks. Now get this. Let me remind you, folks, there is nobody on these streets, not one person. So I turn this corner and I start walking up that way. And I look up there to the left, and on the steps is a double cheeseburger and French fries that is piping like it just came out of the fryer pan on a Waffle House style plate. I couldn't hardly believe my eyes, folks. America, to be honest with you, I thought I was hallucinating. And then when I realized what had happened, that sealed the deal for me. I knew right then that God had my back. I knew right then that I had nothing to worry about. I knew right then I had purpose. I knew right then that I had people backing me that I cannot see with my physical eye. I have to look through my I have to look through my third eye and through my soul and my heart and my true seeing, which is feeling. How exciting that was, man. That was just what I needed for me to get through what I was doing. So I pull myself together and I go stay at the Salvation Army, okay? And it's a pretty rugged homeless camp, but they home a lot of homeless people. And you know what? Shout out to the Nashville Salvation Army and all the homeboys down there trying to get through that tough ass time. I feel you guys. I met this cat. I met this guy who'd been working. He's like, man, I got work, but my boss is kind of picky. Well, I was out there in the parking lot one day and I seen this truck pull in, and the Spirit told me, he's go up there and talk to that truck about work because they had weed eaters and stuff on the back. Well, I go over there, and good fortune may have it, they need a guy with just my skills. And you know, I'm good at selling myself when it comes to work because I know my work ethic and I know my value. So I got me a job landscaping with this guy. This guy was had a landscaping business, and he was also a scrub tech at the local hospital. Super duper smart entrepreneur. And, had no idea who this guy was and who he knew. When what I'm about to tell you is going to blow your cranium back, because it blew mine back. So I tell my buddy that I'm working for about my dreams. And here's what he said, America. He said, well, I know Jelly Roll and Struggle Jennings. I was like, yeah, I bet you freaking do. I bet you do. I bet you do. He goes, no, really. Jelly Roll just grew up right here, man, and so did Struggle. I see. He goes, I'm serious, man. We've known them for a long ass time. I'm like, wow. So when someone tells you something like that, I want to believe him. But to be honest with you, until I seen something, or, I won't say different, but, I'm not going to sign off on it. Well, I'm signing off on this. So he calls me one day and he says, hey, B, I need you to help me change this tire. And I said, okay, where you at? He goes, I'll come get you. He comes and gets me. And on the way out there, he's like, hey, remember me telling you about my buddy who got Jelly Roll started? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, well, that's who we're going to go see. So we pull up on the side of the freeway, folks, okay? And this little kind of short black guy comes out, man. I introduce myself, and I'll go ahead and I get to work. So I'm jamming this tire out. And I don't know if, I think it might have been after when I got it changed, but I got back in the truck. And you know what I did, folks? I didn't ask permission. I didn't ask if it was okay. I just started singing my song For Sure, For Sure. Just as clear as a bell, and sang my heart out. And this guy's his name's Jazz, because I want you to look this up. I'm going to give him some promotions down over there at Trenchtown. Jazz was just bobbing his head back and forth, listening, never said a word. Well, I get out of the truck, finished out. I think I was doing whatever I was doing, and Buddy calls up and he says, "Hey, man, come here." Pulls up to the window and he's like, Jazz really liked what he heard. He wants to get you in the studio as quick as possible. And I remember that moment of stopping and looking around, because I knew that this is one of those pinnacle moments in life that I'll remember for the rest of my life, was the day that I got asked to come into a studio and record my music. Said he really liked it. So I started getting the story. And what happened was, when Jelly Roll started, and Jelly Roll, shout out to Jelly Roll, he'd been at it a long time. You know, Jelly Roll's been in this business 25, 26 years. He's been pounding out of the way before he made his break. When he was doing his thing back in the day, when he knew Jazz and my friend, he was doing battle raps in the hood. They would take him down there and they would do like what you see on Eminem 8 Mile. And they would battle rap. And you got this white guy coming in battling all these black guys, smoking them, bro. Smoking them. So they went to the studio and they came out gambling on a white boy. Look it up. Jelly Roll, gambling on a white boy. And Jazz is who got him going, is his producer. He's on the album cover. And sure enough, this cat knew freaking Jelly Roll. And Struggle Jennings the same way. They all kind of grew up together. Struggle really never was that big, they said, until he went and did some time, and that'll do it to a man. Now he's a monster. Shout out to Struggle. Just absolute mind-blowing stuff. So I go in there and I record, and my producer, Steven the Stallion, he knows who I'm talking about. My man, dude, behind For Sure, For Sure. We sat down there and we recorded that track for 4 hours until we got it perfect. And my man, he did a great, great job. I couldn't be happier with that. The Trenchtown is the name of Jazz's recording studio, Nashville, Tennessee. And I want to play you something real quick here. Now, this is For Sure by Michael Bender, myself. Taking me from the streets and putting me in the right places at the right time. They say we want to be famous. We all want to be seen. And everything's on Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio. All right, For Sure. Spotify, anywhere you get music, streams, it'll be there waiting on you. And I'll tell you about my other single coming up, because it was just a whole different ball game. So I was homeless when I made that. I was just fortunate enough to meet the right person at the right time who gave me a chance to record like that. But I was still living on the streets. Actually, I was living out of my buddy's van. And it was cold. And I was ready for a break. I was being taken advantage of. I wasn't doing the most wholesome things that were, as a lifestyle. I hadn't gotten clean and sober then. So I prayed to God for a way out. I said, please, if you show me a way out, I'll do it. So the very next day, America, The very next day, I'm sitting here walking and I look over and I see this guy carrying 3/4 inch MDF. And anybody that works construction can testify. MDF is some heavy shit. Heavy. And this guy's older. So I didn't hesitate. God said, drop what you're doing. Go help him lift that. So I went over there and he didn't turn away my request. So I'm helping him and he's got like 8 sheets to move in. And so I start telling him my story and I start selling myself. That's what I know how to do, why I'm homeless, my predicament, how I'm wanting to get better. And he goes, well, actually, my son owns the company. And this story is good, broettes. Um, I was like, really? So he calls his boy up and was like, hey, listen, I got this guy here. Lets me talk to him. And he said, can you start tomorrow? I said, absolutely. And he goes, well, I'm going to need you to be at this certain spot. Well, it was like 45 minutes away from Nashville, Cheatham County. Anybody that's familiar with Upchurch and Cheatham County, that's the direction we're heading. Stay tuned. I'm telling you what, I'm going to talk about Upchurch soon. And so I talked my buddy in to taking me up there for this job. I'm not knowing that I'm never coming back to Nashville to live after that. And, well, I did for a second, but I went up there, great crew, remodeling crew. He puts me up in his trailer and lets me live in his work trailer till I can get on my feet and pays me a nice salary weekly. Well, I start working off a Tahoe, get me a place, and end up saving up the money to go get recording time at another recording studio. And that's where I recorded Nashville Winter and Nashvox. And Nashvox is down there on Broadway, Music Row, super great, awesome venue. If you want to go record music, you can do exactly what I've did. And you can have music out there as well. So Nashville Winter, I wrote in Nashville. I wrote for Sure in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And I held on to that song for a long time before I actually ever did anything with it. But Nashville Winter just came out of the woodworks. And I really, really like it. Check it out. Cheatham County Waffle House. Nashville Winter. And like I said, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, anywhere you get music. It's cold outside. I'm trying like hell just to stay alive. And this is about being homeless in Nashville in the wintertime. Nowhere to eat, nowhere to sleep. There ain't nobody gives two shits about me. It's a Nashville winter, a real ball buster. Gonna mess around and find out what you're all about. If you ain't real, sit the hell down. Nashville winter. Nashville winter. And boy, oh boy, you want to talk about a feeling. There's no feeling like driving into Nashville knowing you're about to lay down some tracks at the studio and not feeling like a freaking rock star. I'm fucking telling you, it's impossible. You feel like a rock star. And that was the beginning of my fame. That was the beginning of my love for the spotlight, my love for platforms, my love for entertaining. I love entertaining. I love feeding the masses of people with the most light and positivity that I can muster up inside this shell. So the guy that I was working for, I'm really promoting my music. I'm trying to get a hold of Upchurch. I'm hanging out in Walmart's parking lot in Cheatham County, jamming to Upchurch, waiting for him to pull up. I'm at the Waffle House, and I end up getting connected with his producer and someone else. And reached out and was just really super disappointed when Ryan Upchurch wouldn't reach out to me and help me out. I'm not saying anything about him. He just didn't have time for me at that moment, I guess. And I'm cool with it anyway you say it, because that's brought me to right here. My success is right on time. And to be honest with you, folks, I wasn't ready for it anyway. I wasn't even sober. I wasn't ready for success. Guess what? I'm ready for success now. So, oh my gosh. There's a part two to this story. I ended up taking off out of Nashville on the bill of the Tennessee state. Because when you're homeless, you can move as long as you have an address to where you're going. They'll buy you a bus ticket. Well, I happened to meet a guy who lived in St. Petersburg, Florida one night after getting to be back in the Nashville again, because you know what? Like I said, I wasn't living a good life. And I made bad choices. And I ended up losing everything that I'd worked for, and was back on the streets in Nashville. And dude, it was more than I could take. And I said, no, I'm not doing this in the wintertime anymore. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And I didn't have nowhere to go. So my very first night, I don't know what to do, but I'm calm. I'm collected. I feel peace. As scary as the time as it was. Well, I ran across this guy. He was pretty trashed. And we get to talking, and I kind of told him my situation. He goes, man, do you want to freaking have some fun tonight? I said, yeah, dude. And it wasn't no weird stuff. Man, he actually he's like, dude, I'm passing out. But we were at the Omni Hotel in downtown Nashville. Yeah, fucking way up there. And he's like, dude, if you want to go party, go party. Well, I'm homeless, man. And I get to go party at the Omni Motel? Shit, man. I borrowed one of his shirts, showered up, man, I went out and had a blast. Well, the very next day, he gave me his phone number and address and told me, man, it was just super nice, super duper nice guy, man. Super duper nice guy. And then I went to the Salvation Army, and I tell you what, I didn't know what to do. I had to do something. And I had to wait. The ticket office wasn't open for like 2 days. So I had 2 days to kill. And so during those 2 days, I went around, and man, it was just like I just went around helping people. And I was so just bummed out trying to fight depression. But I'll never forget what this older black man said to me in one of the food lines at one of the homeless camps. He said, man, you might not have no place to live. Yes. You don't have no food and no clothes on your back. Yes, yes. But you're out spreading love and you're lifting people up. Does that sound familiar to you, son? And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, that's the same thing Jesus done. So don't feel bad about what you're doing, because what you're doing is prophetic. And that was one of the first times I actually really, I always knew my calling, but man, I mean, it was like, oh, okay. This is for real, really happening. Okay. It was just one of those turning points in my life. It got me to where I'm at today. So I decided that I was going to bail out of there and go to Florida. And I ended up going to Florida and St. Petersburg, Florida. Oh my gosh. This is almost a part 2 story, because this is very, very, very interesting on how God worked in my life, how God can work in your life. I am going to cut it off there, because part 2 of this is going to be bad to the bone. If you really want to hear some jaw-dropping miracles that are just, if it didn't come from me, I would tell you to question it. But it's coming from me. And I'm telling you, whatever I say is a fact. Jack. Oh, Lord. So stay tuned for episode 4 of the MBP, which I will continue this story of my travels across the United States with nothing but my work ethic, my backpack, and my faith, and how I survived and came out ahead to lead me on top of the success mountain. From the bottom of my heart, I send love out there to every single person who is watching this, who it has been shared with. If you need told today you're loved, buddy, I tell you what, you should feel a radiate of love from me, because I love you all. And I appreciate everything that you do to help this world, to help this B Nation podcast, to help God win in this victorious spiritual war. From my family to yours, God bless. Keep it country. Stay tuned.